Right, moving on. Thank you, Kathy Foster, for this one. Panel, how will you make members who aren't in London feel a part of CILIP? Liz, that's pretty apt going to use your Edinburgh. So how will you make members who aren't in London feel a part of CILIP?
Well, I think tonight's been a very successful attempt to do some of that, and I certainly feel a part of it. It's not an affordable solution to make the trip down for a 2-hour meeting like tonight for me. I certainly want to be keen to be there for board meetings. I think we should be looking at much more of this video conferencing and contributions and question and answer sessions in a different way. So I think that is a way of including people across the UK.
Thank you very much. Sue Westcott, South East based?
South East based, London based.
Yeah.
I think the secret actually lies in whatever happens to the branches as CILIP goes forward. And you know, I know there's a lot of change being thought about, but actually there are different ways that people in CILIP organise themselves into communities, and one of those is geographic. And I think actually, you know, as much as we spend time thinking about what external partners want and what members want generally, part of that dialogue has to be about how people in different places, be it in the UK or internationally, want to engage with us. And that has to be across all of the things that CILIP does. So I think if you can kind of have a involvement of people, use forums like this to actually get people's opinion, find different ways of thinking about the topics that thinking about the things that we talk about, making sure that everything that CILIP says is not London based. And I think a bit more thought around that sort of thing, engaging with the branches, getting the branches sometimes to work with the groups, because that can be a really powerful influence in an area, so that everybody has an opportunity to have the same kind of experience, whether they're in Edinburgh or in London or in the far-flung reaches of the world.
Thank you. Okay, Yorkshire's finest, Sue Cook.
Bless, you're on my territory now. Very much so. Way back, there was a working party on coterminosity and how people related geographically to their branches, and it became clear during that process of examining branches that there wasn't the same clear understanding of what the branch was like there is for a group, and therefore the relationship was not as strong. I chaired the English Branches Forum for a while. It came up with a plan of action, and then we very nobly fell on our sword as not being any more use. There was a resurrection in the branch and group forum, and at the moment that's sort of on ice because it doesn't have a clear role. We are consulting, and there is a feeling that some branches are more successful than others. We need the same as we do for CILIP as a whole. We need to know what branches are about. We have rules and regulations about what we can and can't do, but we don't know what we're about. We almost got there when we were going to deliver chartership. We were going to be the mentors, where we're going to be the local contacts for people who are going through the developing their professional skills. But again, I'm afraid, fell by the wayside because of lack of resources. The branch network is a good network. We can actually build on that and make it stronger. But what we have to do is define that role again. And we've also got to pull ourselves straight, because some of the practices vary widely between one and another. And if we get that right, I think we can get that link in to the centre, and we can get over that feeling that CILIP is something down in London that hasn't really anything much to do with me. We need to bring them into a much, much clearer focus for people in localities, and we need to exploit them better.
Thank you. Okay, Mike the Fens Hosking, what's your view?
Well, my dear, I don't actually be from the Fens. I come from the very far southwest, from Cornwall, originally, and just thinking about that, I mean, from Penzance to Gloucester is as far as from Gloucester to the Scottish border, almost. So branches and groups we've got to look at that, but perhaps we have to look at it with a fresh eye, because some of those distances are very, very significant. Clearly, as has been said, new technology and the opportunities that new technology presents are going to be one of those ways of overcoming distance and of making people not based in London feel more connected. But I think there just has to be perhaps a fresh eye to look at how we can get people to band together geographically, recognising that it isn't just a homogenous sector. So involving people from special libraries along with public librarians, along with educationalists, is quite a complex and varied picture. So we've really got to look at the role of groups operating across wide borders, the role of perhaps some defined or smaller branches, and look at networks and social networks in that.
Thank you. And finally, Maria.
Thank you. Well, that was something that I did quite a bit of work on when I was in the Career Development Group in the presidential team, because we had the same problem, and I felt very strongly, being London-based, that people that were not based in London or based in divisions, as we call the regional ways of that we organise the Career Development Group, were disadvantaged and they couldn't participate. We used to move conference around the country, so probably all members were more or less having access to the same things, but I really felt that people that were active within the divisions were not getting the same deal. And what we did was we started moving all the meetings around the country. We started asking people who would like to volunteer to host a meeting of the Career Development Group Council, and that increased lots of participation. People were far more engaged. It saved us money, because although most people at the beginning were saying, oh my God, it's going to cost us more money to move more people, and CILIP is a good place to host a meeting, and going to London is easy. It actually made that more relationships were established, people were travelling around, we enjoyed going to other places. When we went up to Cardiff in Wales, for example, different people were able to attend. So trying new models and not being afraid to try new models of working, I think is a good idea. The use of technology, as it has been said. I also would like to say, and to put a word again on the international members, because if those that we are based in the UK feel that sometimes we don't get much out of CILIP because we are not based in London, imagine those based in Bali or Uganda or places like that. So again, we need to make a consistent offer for all our members. We need to ensure that we get the best out of CILIP, no matter where we live or where we're based. In my paid role, this is what I do. I am Branches Relationship Manager for the Charter Institute of Taxation, which is a very similar institute to CILIP. It's a member-based organisation. It's also a charity, and that's what they pay me to do, to ensure that branches, and we don't have special interest groups, we only have branches, 36 of them, deliver what members want locally. We have branches internationally as well, and they get they grow organically. Whenever there's a community of members in a particular part of the world that would like to have something where they can get together and they can go to things and communicate and network face to face, then we create a branch for them. We have branches in North America. We have a European branch that moves around, for example. So there is events in Brussels, there is events in Paris, in London. So members from the different parts of Europe can travel, and traveling in between Europe is very cheap and very easy now with low-cost airlines and all the like. We are opening a branch in Bali at the end of the month. So why don't we think in CILIP about some of these ideas and use the experience of other institutes and the experience of members that work in those places, for example, like me, something to try. Thank you.